Good morning, Digit fam. Adam Doud here, coming at you remotely, but not for the same reason as I'll be remote tomorrow. You're just getting a smorgasbord of audio situations this week. Isn't it exciting? Also, remember that tomorrow's episode may be delayed, but we will still be on the air, never you fear. And speaking of fear, Tinder wants to make you less afraid, so let's get to it. It is January 23rd, 2020, and this is your Digit Daily. Fun fact about me, I met my wife online, but not online like you might be thinking. In fact, I promise you, we did not meet in any way you can possibly imagine. There was no swiping up or down, which really is more intuitive. In fact, we met online before there were smartphones, so I'm just going to leave it at that and let you try to figure it out. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is, I've never had to use a dating app. Tinder, Grindr, Spanker, or Zencaster. Wait, that's something different, and I do use that. Never mind. So, Tinder is the swipe left app that you've probably at least heard about, if not actively used. In Tinder, you can find a potential match based on really deep, meaningful stuff, like, does he look hot in that t-shirt? You know, that kind of stuff. On its most fundamental level, Tinder is a way for complete strangers to meet with other complete strangers based on what may or may not be a real profile pic. What could possibly go wrong? Well, Tinder realizes that, and a mere 8 years after the app debuted, Match Group is going to do something about it. And that something comes in the form of Noonlight, which is a security company that offers multiple protections for prospective daters. Not that kind of protection. Get your mind out of the gutter. One way to summon help is to integrate a sort of dead man's switch into the app. A person feeling threatened can tap and hold on a button, and if it's released, a countdown begins and emergency services are called. Another safety measure includes location-based check-ins, like, I'm leaving the restaurant and I'm okay. Now, according to Match Group, they're not going to go all gas buddy on you and start selling your information or location data, so that's nice. Also, a lot of these protections are geared towards women, which is great. Not to say a guy can't use them too. Anyone ever seen Fatal Attraction? I'm just saying. Reviews so far seem to be largely positive, which is also great. We should be able to use technology to improve lives, not to screw with them. Tinder is rolling out this feature for free to the US by the end of the month, which is great, as long as you live in the US. Match Group will also roll out these features to the rest of its apps in the coming months, and you might be thinking, the rest of its apps? Well, how many apps does it have? Well, Match Group owns and operates Match, Tinder, Plenty of Fish, Meetic, OkCupid, Double Daters, Pairs, Two, Our Time, Aging Together, Black People Meet, and Love Scout 24. And I made up 2 of those names, and no, I'm not going to tell you which ones. Overall, this is a great step towards protecting its users and should be applauded. Whether or not the security precautions actually work is another story. One big challenge is these buttons have to be accessible, but not so accessible that they can be accidentally pushed. Something like always listening for a safe word would also be a good idea. You know, for the folks from Match Group that are listening, you can have that one for free. But overall, just having this safety measure in place should help to make people more safe. Tinder's CEO Ellie Seidman said, quote, I liken this to the lawn sign from a security system. It tells people, I am protected, and that is a deterrent. Well, we certainly hope so. Although I think we'd all agree that it would be better if it wasn't necessary in the first place. Just be good to each other, people. So while we let that morality sink in, let's head into the Roundup! Yesterday, we talked about Jeff Bezos' iPhone hack, and at the time, you'll recall that we were waiting for an official response from the UN. Well, the UN wants an investigation into this matter, which is kind of what I thought we were doing all this time, but whatever. The Saudis, via their U.S. Embassy's official Twitter account, also tweeted that they want an investigation. Folks, stay with me here. There was an investigation. Now you all want an investigation into the investigation? There's a lot more story here, but one fun fact that I found was just after Bezos downloaded the video file in question, Bezos' data usage skyrocketed to over 29,000% above normal. And I don't know about you, but I would love to see that month's phone bill. In the meantime, I guess there will be another investigation into the investigation, and we'll all just keep investigating until we get the answer we want. One of the more interesting evolutions of Android might come from none other than Microsoft. Remember the Surface Duo that Microsoft showed off last year? Well, Microsoft released its development SDK, and the fine folks at Windows Central loaded it up in an emulator to give us an idea of how the gestures will work. Also, Microsoft included a series of suggestions for app developers, like if you have a portrait app that has a lot of text input, consider that some users might want to go landscape and use the second screen as a keyboard, so be sure to develop for that so your app can work the way we want it to on approximately 0.5% of the Android phones in the world. This is a big chicken-egg problem, and Microsoft might be the chicken here. It remains to be seen whether or not this will be widely adopted, if adopted at all. Keep fighting the good fight, Microsoft. With all due respect to my Android Authority colleague Andrew Grush, I gotta say something here. Grushy wrote up a nice opinion piece on how the MVNO Visible, which uses Verizon's network, changed his rural Missouri living life. The TLDR version is he lives in the sticks and has to use crappy satellite internet that has a data cap, and early on he tells us, I know people are going to say, just move bro, but no, I ain't going to do that. He goes on to write about how Visible is a great, reliable, unlimited talk, text, and data service, and it's been transformative in how he and his family consume the internet, which is great and all, but in all seriousness, Grushy, just move bro. We talked last week about the coronavirus and the fact that it's the year 2020. Well, city officials of Wuhan, the megacity which is ground zero for this virus, have imposed a quarantine on this disease which has infected over 500 people and killed 17 of them. Wired looks at whether or not a quarantine would even work, and it's a good read, but at the same time, holy crap, we're all gonna die. I mean, it's only 500 infected and only 17 dead in a city of 11 million. And when I say only, I'm speaking mathematically, people, so just calm down. But still, they're calling for a quarantine, and that's no bueno, so I guess it's been real, y'all. And finally, speaking of swiping left and right, voters in King County, Washington, the home county of Seattle, will be able to vote from their smartphone in an upcoming election, and The Verge spends about 1,500 words just tearing this apart. It's a terrible idea, yada yada yada. But I, for one, applaud this initiative, because it's 2020, folks. It's time that we stop shying away from technology because it might cause issues, and just use the dang thing and fix the issues as they come up. Of course, the county feels that this might increase voter turnout, but if you thought getting people to the polls was hard, try getting them to sign up for an app with an account. But overall, good for you, Seattle. Now all you need is a not crappy baseball team. So that's going to do it for today's Digit Daily. If you'd like to learn more about any of these stories, check out the links in the show notes and subscribe to our daily newsletter on Digit.com. And if you like what you heard, subscribe, leave a review, and don't forget to tell your friends about DigitDailyPod.com. Once again, I'm Adam Doud, Dead Technology on Twitter, and we'll talk again tomorrow.